Thank you for joining. My name is Justin Thomas, and I'm responsible for global channel sales for our operations portfolio. Today's webinar is focusing on transforming your enterprise into a digital enterprise, starting with a digital backbone powered by AVEVA's Asset Information Management and our Insight software. What I'm going to talk to you about over the next 20 minutes is really centered around that word transformation. We'll talk about the challenges that many organizations face because of poor information management, as well as solutions to those challenges by using an AVEVA technology that is proven, that can be rapidly deployed, and then scaled so your organization can achieve your digital transformation goals. I put a list of questions together that I'd like you to internalize. Whether you're in operations, maintenance, or engineering, I bet one of these questions will resonate with you. Do you rely on expert opinions or subject matter expertise when a repair needs to be done, or if you need to make a decision on a maintenance plan or a startup and shutdown procedure? Do you find yourself spending more than 3 minutes looking for documents such as P&IDs or schematics? If you're a maintenance planner, do you find it takes you many hours or several days to put the work pack together? If you're anyone in the organization and you're looking for information, and if you've got to go across different data sources, whether it's the asset management system or your monitoring and control system or your historian or your document management system, if you go between those systems, is it easy to find the information you're looking for? Or is it really difficult because there's different naming conventions? Do you find yourself doing work and then looking back and saying, that really took me a long time. I bet I could have done that much more effectively, only if fill in the blank. So ultimately, what I'm getting to here is the underlying theme and answers to some of these questions can be resolved really with better information management. And so what I'd like to do now is tie that common denominator of information management with some financial and other impacts to the companies. And when we look at information management, the value of it sometimes goes unrecognized. And if it goes unrecognized or undervalued, then that's when you have to rely on tribal knowledge or some of the other, try and get access to information that's very difficult. But if you've put together a team, a data governance team, you still are going to need to have an underlying technology that connects the different information sources together, or you're never really going to achieve that ultimate nirvana of having a fully autonomous, fully connected facility. So getting to that source of truth and the value of getting that source of truth often gets overlooked. And it's that impediment that undermines your ability to achieve the goals of becoming a good digital enterprise. And so today we want to focus on that culture of change, on how you can improve that culture using a digital backbone provided by AVEVA. And financially, if we look at companies that do not have a good digital backbone, really you end up having a much higher business expenditure, and to the tune of 5% because of poor information standards. And the reason for that can be categorized into these 4 value leaks. The first is around access to information, and I've alluded to this already. And no matter where you are in the organization, if you've got incomplete information or incomplete access to data, companies lose up to 1.5% of sales annually. With inconsistent information standards, data ends up being outside of design specification, which in turn makes budgeting difficult for the operations teams and can lead to a 4.3% increase in capital expenditures. Product quality, safety, and compliance can lead to fines that are significant. If you look at the cost of a recall, for example, it's $10 million in the food and beverage industry. And productivity can be impacted as well. And that's because of access to information. But we also see that because of poor asset performance and downtime, it really it hampers your ability to, optimize your maintenance plans or remediate asset performance management challenges. So then let's look at how each of these value leaks can be addressed with a digital solution using the AVEVA software. And that's in line with what we're trying to do here, because companies like yourselves are looking for ways to become more digital, to provide a more connected and empowered worker. But to achieve that, you need to look at a digital twin in 3 different areas: the engineering design, the handover from engineering to operations, and then the operations and maintenance of the assets. So by digitizing the engineering and design processes, you're effectively starting the asset lifecycle with a digital backbone or a digital twin. And with this kind of design philosophy on the front end, it really helps you to overcome those challenges we were talking about, some of the challenges we were just talking about. And for manufacturing companies, this is one of the areas that has the highest return on investment, and is really ripe for digital transformation. The next area that can be addressed with a digital twin is the handover from engineering to operations, where the visibility and confidence is provided to visibility and confidence of data is provided to the teams that have to operate and maintain that plant. And so by providing digital documents, or by simulating different scenarios, operational scenarios, and collaborating with the teams that will need to operate and maintain that equipment, really helps to put together more robust plans where data is trusted, and you remove kind of those hidden costs that are associated with poor handover, where then operations and maintenance ends up rebudgeting and spending time trying to reverse engineer what was just done by the engineering team. And then the other area for improvement is around operations and maintenance. And that's in those brownfield facilities, where we're connecting the people, the processes, and those data sources together, and removing tens of thousands of hours of unproductive time finding, validating, creating, and modifying data. So if we can provide a comprehensive, complete digital twin for engineering, operations, and maintenance, then effectively you're scaling out your digital enterprise. You're finding that common digital backbone for then providing the ability for workers to solve all different types of problems, whether they're urgent, systemic, or more strategic. So let's look at these different scenarios in a little bit more detail to, again, uncover where that hidden value is. From operations and maintenance teams, it's really about worker productivity, efficiency, trying to drive out the time spent that was not useful, right? Very unproductive, giving you time back in your day. So if you look here, one of our customers reported over 40,000 hours a year by implementing a digital asset information management system. And over 60% of that time is really allocated to just finding information. So that's a key point. The next scenario is in the handover phase, and this is where there's hidden costs. And this is where that 4.3% metric comes into play. We find that there's many inefficiencies by lack of digitalization between the handover with engineering to operations. And that's because if you have a poor definition of the scope and requirements of the project that are designed, put together for operational use, then what happens is you get lack of complete information, lack of information standards, lack of data that's fit for operations, which ultimately leads to a lack in the confidence in the data that's being handed over. And because of that, it translates to a 4.3% increase in your capital expenditures. And then when we put that into context as it relates to a capital project, if you think about it, let's take a $400 million project, which is on average not pretty typical. That means $17.2 million of that is associated with poor information management. And in the last scenario, we're going to talk about the flow of information or just poor information altogether. and how that impacts the quality, schedule, and cost of a project. And a recent report that was commissioned by Alstom identified the cost of poor quality can be as high as 15% of the total installed cost of a project. And of that, 20% of that can be attributed to poor quality and accessibility of information. So if we go back to that $400 million example, $12 million of that total installed cost can be saved utilizing a digital twin technology from AVEVA. Again, high ROI opportunity here. So companies that have invested in digital technologies from AVEVA and Insight have found that they were able to drive out waste and inefficiencies, remove error-prone decisions, and really have a positive impact on product quality, safety, and compliance. We've got an energy customer that we worked with that is saving $300 million a year by using our technology. And in fact, they were able to deploy an entire global business unit in 3 months, which demonstrated value and also significant savings, which then they applied to scale it to all of their upstream, downstream, and midstream assets. So now AVEVA is that information standard, that global information standard. We've got a utility customer that's saving over 20,000 hours a year in just finding information. Another customer that's saving over 4,000 hours a year trying to validate information. And another customer, energy customer, that was able to improve staff productivity by 10% and reduce unplanned downtime by as much as 30%. And so what this means now is that you all, with this information as your arsenal, have compelling use cases backed by high ROI projects that have been done in the past to help you drive out your value leaks. And what we're talking about here is, we've said this before, is connecting to those silos of information, bringing those engineering databases together with your SCADA system and your historian databases, as well as your enterprise asset management systems together, which, by bringing those siloed sets of information together, allows you to drive out inefficiencies, as we talked about, unproductive time, trying to get access to information, which allows you to make higher quality decisions faster. And by doing that, you're going to be able to unlock your ability to solve problems faster. You'll be able to solve those more urgent problems that are more operationally driven, more some of those systemic issues where problems tend to repeat themselves. You can be able to identify those and remediate those challenges, as well as some of the more longer term or strategic decisions around product changes and debottlenecking processes, giving you more agility to respond to those types of changes, as well as market fluctuations or market demand changes. So it really sets yourself up to be very responsive, which then drives to the connected worker. So by providing that digital backbone, access to those systems, workers can better collaborate, whether they're in remote teams, whether you're out in the field conducting work, communicating back to one of those subject matter experts so that you can share information without having to be there right in front of the equipment. Really helping transform that culture into one of individuals into a team working together to solve problems of all different disciplines and of all different skill levels. So now let me demonstrate for you what that might look like through a video. So I'm going to play you a 6-minute video that's going to take you through to a scenario where a pump is going to be investigated, and by using the AVEVA software, these two different functions, a shift supervisor and a reliability engineer, and how they would communicate and collaborate with the system. And then we'll close that video up with some example use cases of some customer successes. See you back in about 6 minutes.
In this presentation, there's going to be a demonstration on finding information quickly, specifically focused for hybrid industries. Here at AVEVA, we understand your daily responsibilities and challenges. In this demo, we want to emphasize how our solutions support the daily challenges of the 4 personas shown on screen. As the head of engineering, it is important to have cost-effective solutions that are easily implemented and adopted with minimal disruption to the organization. As the head of maintenance and reliability, asset availability is vital. Cost-effective and timely asset maintenance is key to asset performance. As a plant manager, it is important to enable your workforce, allowing them to focus on their work effectively. To do this, they need access to information quickly and easily. Finally, as part of the operations team, you too need access to data quickly. You must manage and minimize the disruption of the plant production whilst carrying out any required maintenance. With these 4 personas in mind, what software capabilities are required to reduce and even eliminate the challenges mentioned? Adopting a solution that is easily scalable and can cause minimal disruption when implemented is key to improving the reliability and productivity of the workforce and assets. Having access to real-time data, trends, and insights instantly allows for fast reaction time and increased plant performance. Access to engineering data as well as real-time data on any device will increase the efficiency and collaboration. The following demonstration outlines how AVEVA can provide positive business outcomes associated to the challenges mentioned earlier. In this scenario, a workflow is triggered by the system, notifying the user of an early warning alarm on a critical asset. This asset is the main transfer pump. Without this, there can be no production. If a failure occurs, there can be delays or even loss of several hectolitres of production. Following the alert, the user can investigate by looking directly at the real-time pump trends and can request the team to help with the investigation. The reliability engineer can then review engineering and operational information for the pump and start to understand its status, its maintenance history, and what is required for a new work permit. This demonstration starts with the shift supervisor receiving a notification of an equipment alert. A hyperlink in the email will take the shift supervisor directly to the real-time trend for quick investigation. The issue with the pump is specifically around the bearing temperature. The shift supervisor can interact with the trend and leave a comment at a specific point to ask the team to investigate the issue further. To understand more about the status of the pump, the shift supervisor can view the asset dashboard and see previous comments or journal entries that may exist. There is a journal entry associated to the pump from last week. This alludes to the pump tripping and causing regular downtime. It might be that there was no investigation done last week and the new alert is directly associated with this. After talking to the shift supervisor, the reliability engineer can begin to investigate the status of the pump. They have access to all appropriate engineering and operational data for the pump on one single dashboard. They also have a link to view the same content that was initially seen by their shift supervisor: the journal entry, the alarm, trends, and comments. The engineer can also view the pump's event register, viewing any existing inspections and work orders. The user can see there was an open inspection and work order related to the pump bearings. Delving deeper into the work order, the reliability engineer can see that the task of greasing the pump bearings is overdue. The most recent alert might be a direct result of the overdue activity. Before requesting the operations team to give the pump urgent attention, the reliability engineer can understand more about what is required for the on-site work. Access to the 3D model gives visualization of the asset in context, allowing the reliability engineer to answer questions such as: where is the pump on site? How easy is it to be accessed? Does the on-site team require any specific PPE? Information can be extracted from other documents associated to the pump. The P&ID can give context on what is upstream and downstream of the pump. Previous work permits can be used as a reference when creating a new one. And the material safety datasheet can be attached to the work permit to ensure all the information and safety requirements are known for this piece of equipment. Finally, the reliability engineer can start to build a package for the on-site team. This package will contain all the important documents and data that the reliability engineer has reviewed and will give the on-site team all the information and context they need to prepare for the maintenance work. Many AVEVA customers have found success through the implementation of the solutions shown in this demonstration, achieving the business outcomes mentioned earlier. Schneider Electric almost halved their machine downtime, increasing operational efficiency and boosting collaboration across the global team. Bollard rapidly and securely implemented a cloud-based approach to monitoring their fuel cell products globally. With directors requesting new data and context daily, Leggett & Plant drastically reduced the time to implement a real-time manufacturing solution from hours to minutes. And finally, Waterforce can monitor and control irrigation systems easily from mobile devices. Having the information at their fingertips has made the farm more productive, water and energy costs are lower, and crop yields are higher. This concludes our demonstration to find information quickly in hybrid industries. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you found that video helpful and put in context how your organization might be able to leverage this asset information management technology to help transform your culture. So let's talk a little bit now about how it's done. So we'll give a little bit of a solution overview here. So first, we start with the philosophy and the thinking that the system should function in a way that we're used to, in a way that we're used to with the devices that we use every day, like our mobile phone. In your mobile phone, it's really easy to navigate, to find the data that you're looking at, because it's in context, right? It's personalized to you. Well, think about what if you had all of that data that was handed over to you from a project team. So when you put together your budget, you could actually believe those operating parameters or the maintenance plans because you can actually see it and it makes sense and you understand the origin of it and how it was put together. You don't have to try to go back and reverse engineer or start from scratch because you didn't believe it or they didn't come up with scenario 1, 2, or 3. So ultimately what ends up happening is without this type of design philosophy, oftentimes companies just rely on the OEM recommendations, which effectively means you're going to be probably over maintaining your equipment. And that's just one example. So with a digital design philosophy that's based on simplicity, we can then use our data intelligence models or templates that we have to quickly connect to the sources of information, leverage those pre-existing data templates so that the data contracts or sources of information are linked together, and then overlay cloud-native applications to browse, search, navigate, report, and so on. So we're not moving the data from one database to another, but rather contextualizing it through an easy-to-use interface portal. And because it's in the cloud, you don't have to install expensive IT hardware. You don't have to have information standards already in place across the business. And because of that, that really allows you to really start quickly and build without having to form these data governance teams and form these, global information standards. We can use the pre-existing template and get you started. Within 90 days, you can have an entire business unit put together. In addition, we bring features that allow you to gain insight into the data through these intelligent searches. You can see upstream and downstream of the asset for cause and effect relationships and root cause analysis. And so by design, you can think big, start small, and scale fast. And here's a typical project. We suggest that you get that we get a presentation and demonstration together with your champions and your stakeholders and take you through an as-is and a to-be state with your data. And then if it's interesting, with some demo data. And then if it's interesting to you, then what we can do is take the next step and import 1 to 2 systems of record so that we can show you how fast this software is at connecting to those data sources and then transforming that data, leveraging our asset information management templates. And at this stage, you can navigate through the hierarchy of your data and see how easy it is to search for information. Type in like a Google search to look for any of the schematics or P&IDs that are associated with a pump. Pull open the alarm and events that are associated with that pump. Look at those early warning or predictive analytics that are associated with it, those work orders, and so on. And then after that, we would recommend implementing a limited scope production pilot, which would then be complete and fully built out within 90 days. And this could be for 2 asset classes, and we would fully, like I said, fully build out the hierarchy to all the systems, and then train you so that you can effectively utilize that software. And so with the asset information management and the AVEVA Insight platform, that forms your digital backbone, and all of those are available, or those 2 technologies are available in our AVEVA Cloud Connect managed service environment. And so when you can start with this digital backbone, but then expand your digital footprint through other applications that are available in the AVEVA Connect platform, whether that's to add advanced machine learning and artificial intelligence, or other digital workflow technologies, or even some of the other visualization software that might be available. All, again, available through that AVEVA Connect. But then, of course, we're open to connecting to other applications, again, because we're open and agnostic. So if you're thinking to yourself, what makes AVEVA different? Well, we have results. We've been doing digital transformation for over 50 years and providing complete digital twins for over 2 decades. We'll help you transform in 90 days, and we'll help scale throughout your enterprise in less than a year. So I'll end where I started. I hope you now have understood why I asked those questions in the beginning. Hopefully I was able to pique your interest in AVEVA and helping you to provide a little bit of a roadmap for you to help resolve and remediate some of the time that is required of your subject matter experts, help empower your workers to make faster, more effective decisions, minimize some of that rework and drive out costs due to inefficient and outdated information management practices. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you.